Hey everybody, it is Mark David Heiser from Day Did You Win, and I'm here today to do my review of the 2019 Monumental Marathon, which is held on November 9th, 2019 in downtown Indianapolis. This was the 12th annual Monumental Marathon. This was my seventh in a row. It's in a race I just keep on coming back to. But before I get started, I am doing this review on Veterans Day. And so I would just like to say thank you very much to all those who have served our country, who have served and protect us all. So just thank you very much for your service. No thanks is enough for you guys. But at the same time, I just wanted to start off my video with that. Your service is greatly appreciated. All right, moving on to the race itself. As I said, it was on November 9th. Expo was on November 7th in the afternoon on Thursday and November 8th all day. Generally, there are race day registrations for the race if there are any available. Traditionally, though, over the past, I believe it's been now 8 years, the marathon has sold out before the expo. This year is no exception. This was the 8th consecutive sellout of the marathon. However, there was absolutely no race day or no day before registration at all at the expo because on the last day of online registration, both the half marathon and 5K also sold out. So for the first time ever, complete sellout of all three distances. There are 19,000 total registered participants this year, which with the marathon itself, this makes it a top 15 marathon in terms of size. And Runner's World has consistently ranked this race as one of the best marathons to run your first marathon in. And I can understand completely why that is. It is a very well-run race. It's just a flat course also as well. It is fast. And it is a great opportunity to get a feel of what a marathon is like without the tough elevation changes. As well as usually very, very good running weather. Early November in Indiana is typically very cool. I have not ran, I don't think, a Monumental Marathon yet that's been above 40 degrees. Or I'm sorry, that has not been in the 40s. I don't think I've gotten into the 50s yet at Monumental, which has been just fantastic. This year, it was cold. Lows were in the 20s at the start, low 20s at the start of the race. And so it was cold. It made for some challenges to figure out what exactly to wear on race day. But it turned out to be about as good as you could ask for. So going back to the expo, like I said, was on Thursday and Friday. This year they did have a featured speaker at the expo, as well as Friday morning you could do a group run with this featured speaker. And this year it was Dina Castor. And if you don't know who Dina Castor is, she won the bronze in the 2004 Olympics, and is also the American record holder for the women in the marathon distance. And so I did get a chance to meet her. She was signing autographs at one of the vendor tables. And so I did get her autograph on my race bib. Got my picture taken with her. And so just kind of a neat little souvenir to keep around. I always keep my bib numbers anyways. And so, maybe that's just a collection I'll start now whenever there's a featured, professional athlete or former professional athlete at an expo, just get an autograph on my bib. This is my first one, so I'll keep hold of that. In the past, they've also had Bart Yasso at the expo. I believe Jeff Galloway has been there, I believe, before. And that might be, I know there's been others. I just can't remember who they are off the top of my head. I don't always get there in time for those. I want to say maybe Meb was there once. I just can't remember. If it wasn't Meb, there was somebody else, and I'm sorry, I just can't remember who it was off the top of my head. But anyways, they always have a featured speaker of some sort, and usually it's someone who's pretty popular in the running running community. So it was great to meet Dina Castor, though. I didn't take too much of her time, but I just want to do that. So, like I said, 19,000 total registered runners for this race. A marathon sold out a month early. 5K sold out, and half marathon sold out, like I said, the week of. There are 50 states represented at this marathon, as well as 22 countries. So people come from all over the world, all over the country, of course. Total finishers on Saturday was 15,000. And then the marathon, there was 4,900 finishers, which is the most they've ever had in the race history. Also at the expo, though, I want to show you this real quick. I'm going to step back here so you can get a good view of this. They do give you a race poster every year. And the race poster typically features the finisher's medal. And so this year's finisher's medal, I'm going to show it to you real quick. Give you a better, is the Depew Fountain, Memorial Fountain, which is right on Meridian Street, which is right near the finish line, probably within the last mile of the finish. And so basically, though, every finisher's name is on, or everybody who registered in time, their names are on this poster. So my name and my wife's name, Tina, we're both on this poster somewhere. One thing I didn't notice until today, actually, is on the top row of this poster, it is in orange. And those, I believe, would be the legacy runners, those who have ran all 12 of the monumental years of this race. There's not very many of them, but it's nice to have that honor for them, kind of highlight their accomplishment. And so I do frame those every year. That is a 20, so for those of you who ran the Monumental Marathon, I bought these frames at IKEA. It is a 24 by 36 inch frame. It is wide enough for the poster, but it is also a little bit too high, or the length is a little bit too much for the poster. So you just kind of have to center it to get it to fit in right. So also, while this shirt just fell down, I'll show you the race shirt. This is this year's race shirt. I really do like this shirt. This is one of my favorite Monumental shirts, probably my favorite one I've ever received. Just a nice, simple design on the back. You got an outline of the Indianapolis skyline with some of the monuments here. You can see tallest buildings in Indianapolis, some more monuments, and that sort of thing. So just a nice, simple race shirt. This is actually the first year also that I was an ambassador for the Monumental Marathon. I've been, like I said, this is my 7th race. I love this race. This is a race I always keep on coming back to every year, no matter what. It is always on my calendar, and so it made sense for me to apply to be an ambassador, and I'm glad. I was just so happy to be chosen, honestly. They sent me an ambassador shirt at the beginning of it all. They sent me a Monumental Boco hat. And then because I'll be honest, I had a lot of people actually use my discount code. I was you guys blessed me so much. You guys made me one of the highest, my code, one of the highest used codes of the ambassadors for this year. And so I just want to say thank you very much for doing that. It's humbling to know that many people took the time to use that code while it wasn't a discount. It was a registration code to be able to be entered into a drawing for a free hotel stay. And I'm happy to say that one of the people who did use my code was actually the winner of that hotel stay. So it was great to see that as well. And so there were some perks, obviously, to doing that. I do get a free registration for next year's race, since I'd already registered for this year's race. And then since so many people used my code, I did get some other freebies, such as this blanket. My wife has honestly hijacked this blanket already, but it does have the Monumental logo on it. But it's just a nice soft blanket. Like I said, my wife uses this more than anything now. And so just, nice gift they gave us. And also, since I was a VIP, since I was a ambassador, they put me in the VIP program. Basically, that means that I got express packet pickup, made it real easy to get it. They also gave me this quarter zip jacket, for being a part of the VIP program, and so on and so forth. There are some other perks that honestly I didn't take advantage of because my wife was not included in that, and I felt bad, just leaving her out. Um, and also there was some free VIP food access. I'll get into why I didn't use that later on. So, anyways, we actually stayed at the Hyatt Garden Inn, which is about a quarter, or which is a block off of the Circle East. So, I'm going to show you the race map here. So, we stayed right in this area right here. Starting line is over here. It's probably about 5 or 6 blocks away. I probably won't stay there again. The hotel was very nice, but it's a little further away from the start. There, when you have hotels that are right by the finish line, and I mean literally right by the finish line, that's where you want to stay. You want to stay in those places, and there's many reasons. And like I said, I'll get to that later. But anyways, that's what we did this year, and it was a mistake on my part. So race morning came along, and like I said, the race morning, it was about 22 degrees outside, I believe, at the start. I went out, I ran in my shorts, compression socks, as I always do. I continued to wear a singlet. I was torn between trying to throw a long sleeve shirt on or just wearing a singlet with arm sleeves. I want the singlet and arm sleeves and gloves as well. And I think that was actually a really good choice for me. And I don't regret that one because it did get warm. I'll be honest, I don't have too much to say about my performance of the race other than it was not a good race. I went into it knowing that my training did not go as well. I went into it knowing that I had nagging soreness in my legs and my upper legs that just was not going away throughout my training. And I knew it could be a long day. And sure enough, from the beginning, from mile one, my leg muscles were tight all over my legs. I couldn't get over it. And it just continued on and on and on. And so I was hoping for at least getting under 320. And I was on pace for that at the beginning for the first half. And then it kind of just fell apart on the second half. For one thing, I didn't realize until I got to Indianapolis on Friday, my Garmin was down to 14%. I powered it down on Friday, powered it up right before the race started, and the Garmin lasted about 14 miles, and then it died. So I was kind of running blind as far as what my splits were, but at the same time, right after mile 14, the 3 hour and 20 pace group passed me, and I didn't have any kind of response. And about mile 16 is about when I started trying to just focus on the mile, just focus on getting to mile 17 and, think about walking at that point, and to start doing that mile 16, that's really early in the marathon to start thinking about, pushing yourself the next mile before walking. I made it to about 19 before I had to take any kind of a walk break. And like I said, my legs just were not having it on this day. And, that's about all I could say about it. This was actually probably my worst marathon I had ran, performance-wise. But it was a great day. The crowd support along the route this year. I was talking to my wife about this on the way home, and I just noticed during the race that it seemed like the communities were out more this year than I had ever seen before. They're out supporting the runners, cheering us on, and whether it was just cheers or wearing costumes, beer. Whatever it may be, whatever your alcoholic beverage preference is, they were out, mimosas, they had them out there. And so it was a great atmosphere this year. One that I have never experienced out at Monumental before. And there's always been good support out there, but this year it was just above and beyond what it usually is. And so the course, like I said, you start off here, right outside the Capitol building. You run south down North Capitol Avenue. You run by Lucas Oil Stadium. Come east then for a short time. This actually takes you right by Bankers Life Fieldhouse, which is where Indiana Pacers play. Go around Monument Circle, which is Monument Circle, which has a Sailors Memorial, Sailor Soldiers Memorial. Come along here, Massachusetts, along Mass Avenue. This is the only part of the course I really don't like, and it's because of this sharp curve here, right here, which is at right about 4 3/4 mile. But then you head north on Pennsylvania Avenue. This is where you really, I mean, right in this area is probably the biggest, around the circle is probably the biggest crowd support until the finish. But even along Pennsylvania Avenue, there's some crowds, but also then there are some crowds along East Fall Road here. The most demoralizing part of this race is right here, about mile 7 1/4. This is where the marathon and half marathon split up. Half marathon makes this little jog while the marathon keeps on going. You do go by the Indiana State Fairgrounds as well. Come up Washington Boulevard. This is where the neighborhoods really get active, right here on Washington Boulevard. And then you keep on coming up through Broad Ripple, nice part of Indianapolis. Come through here. Meridian has got to be, though, my favorite part of the course. And that's because this is where all the really nice houses are with the changing of the leaf colors as well. It is just beautiful coming through here. And then you run through Butler campus. The one thing I wish they would do on this course is I wish it would go by Hinkle Fieldhouse. If you're familiar with the movie Hoosiers, it's my favorite movie of all time. The movie was filmed, the last game, state championship game of the Indiana State Finals between the Hickory Huskers and South Bend Central, filmed in that gym. I wish the course could go by there, but it's also where the football stadium is as well, and I believe there were football games. There was a football game there this weekend, so I'm sure that's one of the main reasons why they can't do that. But then you come through campus, or still on campus through here. And then you come along this is kind of like a park area. This is a huge downhill section right here, right at 19, which you kind of keep on going. And then gradually then from 20 until probably about 23, it's kind of a gradual uphill at that point. But you're also running by the Naval Armory. You're running through by a Art Institute, as well as this is the Thomas Taggart Memorial. I think this is a new one. I don't remember seeing this memorial before, so this might be a new memorial that's going up. I could be wrong. They were working on it, but it might have been more just landscaping, but most of the memorial look to be built. And then you can finish up the race by heading down Meridian Street and back to the Capitol building, where you finish right outside the Government Center. The last 5K is a tough one because you are looking at the circle for about 3 miles, and it's just a tough thing to visualize for that stretch of time, especially at the end. But it is a flat course. Mile 16 is probably the biggest hill on the course, but at the same time, it's nothing too difficult. There was a tweet that was put out actually talk about how fast this course is. In comparison, there were 10 men marathon runners who qualified for Olympic trials in this race. Okay, 10. In the women's marathon, there were 22 women who qualified. In the women's half, there were 3 that qualified for Olympic trials. Okay? There's a tweet that went out on Saturday, I believe it was. And the tweet basically just said this. It said, at the prestigious New York Marathon, 12 women qualified for the U.S. Olympic Marathon trials. At the Indy's Monumental Marathon, 22 women qualified for Olympic trials. So you can go to the big city, you can get the cheers, you can get all the excitement, blah, blah, blah. But if you want the fast time, come to Monumental Marathon, run on a flatter course, and just experience Midwest running. It was fantastic. So all that to say, this was a great experience. Like I said, I could have taken advantage of a after party for VIPs. I did not, basically because I got done in 3 hours and 40 minutes or 41 minutes. It was a slow time for me. With the race starting at 8 o'clock, that meant it was 11:40 at that time when I finished, and my checkout was at noon. So I had to hurry back, get 5 blocks down the road to my hotel. Honestly, I didn't make it by noon, but I got a quick shower in, and I was in no mood really to walk back to the after party, so I didn't take advantage of that. I did actually call the hotel while I was on the marathon course asking for a later checkout. I was not able to get one. So that's why I didn't take advantage of that. And that's also why I said I'm not going to stay that far away from the finish line anymore. I'm going to go back to getting my reservations back at the hotel by the finish line. So in closing, just want to say this. Like I said, this is a great race. Oh, I didn't really give you a good close-up of the medal. I'm sorry. This is the finisher's medal. Now you're going to notice that there's a big N in the middle. That's because this is the second year of a 4-year series. First year was last year of this series, and there's an I, so it's going to spell out Indy, I-N-D-Y. So I've got 2 more of these to earn. This is the second time they've done a 4-year series. The first time, this is what it was. You may be wondering what this is. Well, this is actually in the shape of the Indianapolis city flag. With the star and the circle there in the middle. Once again, that is part of the city flag, but at the same time, that also represents the circle in downtown, the Monument Circle that we also do run around during the race. One other thing they did give you at the finish line was a hat, which is great because most of us probably threw off our hats at some point during the race. I did, and so it's a great way to get your head covered after you finish. They have been doing this every year that I've been running it. I have all 7 of these hats still that I have earned, so it's a great souvenir to keep around. Sometimes my son wears them, or I wear them, whatever. But like I said, it's just a great souvenir to have every year. So all that to say, this is a great race. If you're interested in running in the 2020 Monumental Marathon, it is going to be on November 7th, 2020. Registration will open up January 1st at midnight. And so when you're up for New Year's Eve, might as well register for the Monumental Marathon. Save yourself some money. They typically have, for the first 1,000 people, registered a special price. Now, I'll be honest, last year they had computer issues and we were not able to register at midnight like they said. There's some glitch in their system. And what they did was, once they figured it out what was going on, they gave that price to anybody who registered on January 1st. So they haven't quite announced yet how they're handling registration this year, whether it's going to be first 1,000 or whether it's going to be all day on January 1st. But either way, if it is the first 1,000, you got to jump on it because those fill up very fast. So be ready to register on that day, save yourself some money. All right, I know this is a long one, but this is a race that I love, and I have such a huge passion for this race. I love Indianapolis. I love the way they welcome runners into the city. We got asked so many times at the hotel or wherever we're eating if we were in town for the race. People in Indianapolis, the businesses really welcome everybody in. So if you've never done it, you got to give this race a shot. It is fantastic. Just make sure you get registered early because if this year's any indication, it will sell out again. So, guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. And once again, to our veterans, thank you.